Ladies and gentlemen, let's welcome Jason Davenport, the chairman of the board of directors for the CIPP and the founder of Calendar Consulting Limited. Jason has spent most of his career spanning over 25 years in the BPO industry, delivering multi-country payroll processes covering various facets of global payroll. We are glad to invite Jason Davenport to dwell on the topic, the future of payroll.
Hello and welcome to you all, and I want to talk to you about the future of payroll. 2020 has been such a strange and unusual year. It really does seem at odds to discuss the future when we're in such uncertain times, hence the crystal ball in the picture. But the future of payroll has been a hot topic for a while now, primarily due to the pace and change of technology, which makes it possible to automate some of the more transactional aspects of payroll. And it's important that we discuss what innovations are happening now and what the future may look like in order to innovate and prepare within our own payroll departments. During this session, I'm going to pick up on 4 themes. How will technology enhance the payroll profession? Salary strategies of the future of working, and skills of payroll professionals and job roles of the future. All of these items we covered through our Future of Payroll Research report and the subsequent roundtable discussions at our annual conference last month, as well as how the COVID-19 pandemic has impacted and influenced change and the future of payroll. So, how will technology enhance the payroll profession? The current global pandemic has accelerated the use of remote working technology and communication tools. Within local domestic offices, platforms such as Zoom and Microsoft Teams were not commonly used prior to March of this year. But fast forward to now, and we're all familiar and comfortable with these platforms for communication and networking. Many meetings and events have also moved to these platforms, enabling access to events which may have previously been restricted due to geographical location. The technology was not new prior to COVID, but it certainly had not been embraced the way it was. We always look for silver linings, and perhaps that's one of those, the way that we've used this sort of technology. In part, thanks to government lockdown strategies and many payroll professionals moving to home working, these communication channels have taken off in a way that could not have been imagined even at the start of this year. It will be interesting to see whether the use of these platforms continues to support payroll professionals as we move into the new normal. We will learn from the pandemic and continue to use these platforms to complement face-to-face attendance and improve the frequency and quality of communications. Or will we really revert back to traditional communication channels? Well, I hope not. I think we can embrace both. Much of this will be determined by the future of work, which we'll touch on later, and whether we move to flexible working or revert back to office-based environments when we can return to some level of normality. Another technology which is anticipated to be utilized more within payroll in the future is cloud-based software. If we look at the results from the Future of Payroll survey, which was conducted in May of this year, 38% of respondents stated that their payroll software was hosted in the cloud, 37% on site, and 25% still on a client server. An interesting response as cloud has seen increases on each year previously, and I would expect that absolutely to move forward further, especially as we look at technology anytime, anywhere. As I say, anecdotally, we're seeing at the CIPP an increasing request from a number of organizations looking for cloud-based payroll solutions as a direct result of the pandemic. A number of procurement projects have specified they're looking for cloud solutions and software which will enable payroll to be run from any location, suggesting that they really are looking at technology that has that flexibility in what traditionally has been seen as an office-based function. It was also interesting to see that 63% said that they would look for payroll software which integrated directly with other specialist software, such as time and attendance and expenses, as opposed to looking for a one-size-fits-all solution. Thus recognizing that payroll still has that level of complexity, but does have to be interlinked with other departments. While not covered in our Future of Payroll report, faster payments is a technological development which should be discussed still as we debate the future of payroll. So here in the UK, we have a BACS system, the Bank Automated Clearing System. It's a long-standing and stable method for payments. So why should it be challenged? Well, actually, in today's society, we're all used to being able to have access to things immediately. If we transfer money to friends online, it's out of our account and into theirs within seconds. Yet to pay salaries via BACS, payroll is required to process 3 days in advance. Faster payments has become more topical in recent months and challenges the 3-day BACS cycle, arguing that payroll professionals will have greater flexibility, especially for those organizations which still operate weekly payrolls. It would allow them far more processing time. Faster payments is also attractive to those who are paying employees outside of the UK, as BACS is only available to employees with a UK bank account. The reality is that faster payments are currently more expensive to process than payments via BACS, and BACS is a stable and reliable payment method. But will the future of banking and a shift towards more regular pay frequencies that the gig economy is driving also impact the future of BACS and fast payments? Only time will tell and one to look for. Another direct result of the COVID-19 pandemic has been the switch to online or electronically delivered payslips. Again, this is not a new technology, but it's something which previously had faced much resistance, especially those concerned about security. In the UK, with the majority of employees moving to home working, including those that work in payroll, the ability to produce and post paper payslips diminished, and payroll professionals adopted technology to either issue e-payslips via email or online payslips through secure online portals. Again, as we revert back to a new normal, this is a positive change which will have both reduced costs within payroll departments, positively impacted their global footprint, and hopefully improve customer service by having them there and not being delayed through postal services and what have you. However, security does remain a concern. The normal considerations from home working have not really been fully taken into account during the pandemic, as governments have forced the move to remote working for public well-being reasons. However, as we move and come out of the pandemic and review whether home working is a more permanent requirement, security concerns will still need to be addressed. Is the payroll data being processed on a secure server? As a payroll professional, are you able to work in a confidential environment when you're working from home? What level of encryption exists between integrated systems? These are all for consideration and questions to address before we can move payroll fully to remote working. When we asked our survey respondents if AI had altered the way in which payroll departments received inquiries, it seemed to be an area in which payroll professionals have seen little change. Queries still come into payroll departments and are responded to through traditional methods such as face-to-face, email, or over the phone. This is something which is hardly surprising, to be fair. Employees' pay and salary is a personal and sensitive subject, and something which comes into the numerous variables and complexities such as student loan deductions, salary sacrifice arrangements, attachment of earnings orders, as well as all your usual deductions through social security, income tax, national insurance, and what have you. So for this reason, very often people want to talk to people, and people need to understand each unique inquiry in order to respond in an effective and a sensitive manner. However, when asking the same respondents whether they anticipated that artificial intelligence and robotic process automation managing the more transactional aspects of the payroll role, 86% said yes. So almost unanimously, everybody sees that is playing its part and is coming into the payroll process. By transactional aspects, we're referring to more methodical processes that are repeated numerous times within each pay cycle. For example, processing starters and leavers or changes to details. Technological advances will reduce the requirement for payroll professionals to continue carrying out these monotonous tasks, so they can focus on more challenging duties which involve the use of enhanced payroll knowledge, such as dealing with those employee inquiries as just mentioned, or streamlining processes and finding departmental efficiencies, and developing pay and reward strategies to support the business overall. 78% of our respondents hold the view that by taking advantage of technological advances, they'll be more effective and they'll be more efficient, with 62% predicting it would reduce costs to the business. Positively, when we ask payroll professionals, how do you think that new, simple to use cloud-based technologies that promote payroll at the push of the button that we've all heard will impact employers' value of payroll professionals? And 68% thought that it would still provide an opportunity to showcase their strategic value to the business. So in summary for this slide, robotic processes should be embraced where appropriate to automate, but payroll still needs a human face. In the not too distant past, the general consensus on the topic of pay was that it should remain completely confidential and was not to be discussed amongst colleagues, friends, or family. Arguably, this mentality has led to distrust of pay strategies and the ability for organizations to hide inappropriate pay gaps. Positively, though, this approach is evolving as organizations begin to adopt more transparent pay strategies. In the UK, this is absolutely as a result of government-mandated pay gap reporting. For example, gender pay gap reporting, chief executive office pay gap reporting, and ethnicity pay gap reporting. For organizations with more than 250 employees, payroll departments now need to analyze and report on this pay information and the reason for any gaps. And there are calls to expand this gender pay gap reporting in the UK to organisations with 100 or more employees through the Equal Pay Implementation and Claims Bill of 2020, which has full cross-party backing. Interestingly, and despite the introduction of pay gap reporting, when we asked our survey respondents if their organisations had a transparent pay strategy, 59% still held the belief that pay should be completely confidential, with 36% stating that they operate salary bandings for roles within the organization, which employees do have sight of. Interesting facts there. Another topical and emerging pay strategy is the concept of pay on demand or pay advances. The concept of employees accessing their pay as they have earned it and not waiting for their traditional contractual payday. This is a strategy which seems to cause divided opinion here in the UK. We know it's very popular in the US and has taken off there, where employers have worked with industry to develop solutions to enable this, with little administrative effort from the payroll team. Equally, employees in the US have demanded this of their employers, as they want to be able to access their money when they have earned it. It's certainly something that's going to be talked about more in specific sectors, especially we see within the gig economy, retail and hospitality being more likely to introduce pay on demand as a benefit to their workforce. And in these sectors, it can be seen as an incentive and a retention tool if an employer is able to provide their employee with access to monies earned in a timelier manner than a competitor might. In the UK, however, payroll professionals are still more reserved with regards to introducing pay on demand, arguing that it may be an alternative to a payday loan if a cost of processing is to be charged, and that there is potential for employees to find themselves in difficult financial positions as a result if those employees are not fully aware of how to manage their cash and budget accordingly for the whole period. However, if done properly, this can provide payroll with an opportunity. As already mentioned, offering pay on demand to your workforce can be part of a wider recruitment and retention strategy, particularly in sectors with a high turnover of staff and potentially low-skilled, low-paid workforce that are living more to means. By embracing technology to automate as much as possible and reduce the admin burden of implementing such a scheme and adopting faster payment methods within the organization, this will enable payroll professionals to take a lead role within raising the financial awareness of their employees. We'll talk about future skills and role of payroll professionals later, but this provides some initial food for thought. So the future of working, well, we're in a period of work where potentially there are 5 generations within the workplace, and as Generation Z and Alpha generation start to enter the world of work, things will be very different to how they were for the baby boomers and Generation X. I'm from Generation X, by the way, but each of my children fall into Generation Z. Even pre-COVID, we were seeing a shift in mentality away from the traditional Monday to Friday, 9 to 5 office-based roles, with more roles being able to work remotely and hours flexed to enable childcare or other responsibilities to be managed, in addition to working full-time, that helped to create a better work-life balance than previously available when technology did not enable roles to be conducted outside of the office. Here in the UK, we have the Good Work Plan, which will implement recommendations made by Matthew Taylor in his report on modern working practices, something which is widely recognised as positive developments in the world of employment. Payroll teams will need to prepare and adapt for these changes, and I have to say it's a 116-page document that's a worthwhile read. Working from home or remote working, as shown on the slide that you can see here, does come with its challenges. You could easily replace the dog that you see here with a cat or a small child, and that has certainly become the norm during the current pandemic. This has been enabled by technology and as a positive for those looking for a better work-life balance and reduced commute. However, it comes with health and well-being concerns. The slide on the picture here shows a woman working from her dining room table on a laptop, which is hardly an optimized working environment. In our offices, we have a wealth of safety assessments. We have specialist chairs to reduce back problems. We have back supports and footrests. And that's all supplied if we need that additional support. Our screens are positioned so that we do not need to look up or down, therefore limiting strain on our necks and shoulders. Special lighting is installed in offices to help stop strain on our eyes. So all of these measures are put in place to protect our physical well-being, and this does need to be considered if home working will be the new normal. Prolonged periods of home working is also very socialized. We are a social species. I don't like to be kept in a box. I like to be out and meet people. These are personal well-being benefits to being in an office environment and sharing our experiences with our colleagues, as well as organizational benefits of getting informal intelligence gathering, those things that happen outside meetings, those things that happen outside the work day, more by the water cooler station. We've lost that opportunity through COVID-19, and I do look forward to getting that back. What we are more likely to see in the future, though, is more flexible working. 3 days in the office and 2 days working from home, perhaps. In the UK, some of the London train lines have already anticipated this and launched a 3-day-a-week season ticket, in addition to the regular 5-day-week season ticket. This is attractive to businesses and payroll professionals as it delivers the benefits of both home working and office working. But the home working environment must be considered and assessed. The CIPP's Future of Payroll report suggests that 82% of businesses who are able are offering home working already. In addition, 74% are offering flexible hours and 51% are offering compressed hours to employees. These requests to change in work-life patterns are all linked to the same thing: employees looking for greater flexibility and improved work-life balance. What a great test this gave us. So the future of working and business continuity, well, not discussed directly in the Future of Payroll report, something which came up during the CIPP's annual conference roundtable discussion on the future of payroll, was how the current pandemic would improve business continuity and disaster recovery planning. It's absolutely recognized that payroll professionals did not drop the ball. Yeah, they got their people paid. They continue to get their people paid in some very, very difficult circumstances. Payroll professionals recognize that the business continuity plans that were put to the test, as they have had to deal with that remote working, and increased workload within teams. Some organizations did not have such plans. We've already touched on some of that, where it would not be able to process payroll from a home working environment. And those organizations are absolutely now looking at new systems and technology to support this moving forward. So the skills of the payroll professionals and jobs of the future. The role of the payroll is changing as a result of technology, and the way in which we're working has changed as a result of the pandemic. Payroll professionals have identified that some of the more manual and transactional aspects of the role may well be completed through robotic process automation now and in the future. And that as a result of that, the role is more human and about support and compliance. 84% of the respondents to the research stated that they were more likely to take on more of an advisory role as technology develops. As such, when we ask payroll professionals which skills they plan to develop either themselves or within their teams over the next 2 years, the results were around technology, leadership, and communication. Those 3 key areas there: understanding the technology better, really driving in leadership, and recognizing the communication. I think here and now during the pandemic, you can never do more communication. It's communicate is a key to keep connected. Remote working was a skill that was most planned on developing, with 56% of respondents, as you can see there, stating that they plan on developing in this area, with 37% also thinking about not just remote working, but remote management. This is hardly surprising given the time of the survey, and perhaps it would have increased even further if we were asked the same professionals the same question now. It does also support the argument towards the future of work and home working. Technological skills related to automating processes within systems was the next highest area to be developed, with 55% stating that these skills they plan to develop. Again, supporting other areas of the report, suggesting that much of the transactional elements of the role can and should be automated to enable payroll professionals to focus on more strategic aspects. And 51% of respondents had stated that they plan to develop their leadership skills. This is also supported by 47% stating that they wish to develop their data analytical skills, recognizing data within the business is so important. And reporting will enable payroll to have more influence on business strategy and a seat at the table, if you like, when discussing the future of business. 50% of those responded want to improve the communication skills in the next 2 years. When we discussed technology, we identified that queries coming into the payroll department are still coming in through more traditional communication channels, and that employees want to speak to a person when querying something as sensitive as their pay. This supports the number of payroll professionals looking to develop the skills in this area. The final skill I wanted to draw your attention to was accuracy skills, which 37% of respondents stated that they wanted to develop either themselves or within their teams in the next 2 years. This is really interesting, as it could be considered to be low if you take the fact that payroll mantra is to pay accurately and on time every time. This could be interpreted in one of 2 ways. Either payroll professionals are already proficient in this area and do not feel there's room to improve and develop, or more likely, they recognize that the software will do much of the calculations. However, it is important that payroll professionals do not lose sight of how to calculate pay manually to enable them to check that the software has calculated correctly. And as part of business continuity testing and disaster recovery planning, it's useful to have those skills. So the skills of payroll professionals and job roles for the future. It would be remiss of me to talk about the future of payroll and not cover succession planning. Only 41% of payroll professionals that completed our survey said they had a succession plan within the payroll department. And we all know that people really currently leave education with a career goal of being a payroll manager. That is something that I'm on a quest on to change, by the way. This is a threat to the organization if we do not have upcoming talent, be it qualified or not, but that talent coming through within business. Payroll is finally being recognized and does have key worker status. Again, as a result of the pandemic, payroll professionals across the globe quite literally keeping their respective countries paid through government initiatives, such as the UK's coronavirus job retention scheme and the subsequent job support scheme. As such, it's important that we, as payroll professionals, ensure our employers are aware of the importance of having skilled and qualified, either through qualification or experience, payroll teams. We need to plan for the future of the profession and bring in and train new talents within the profession. When it's possible to do so, we need to be educating young adults as well within schools, colleges, universities about their pay and potential careers in payroll, so that they see this as an attractive and a viable career choice, not just something that they fall into either from accounting or HR. We need to be investing in payroll training and development so that we have payroll teams aware of changes to legislation and technology so that they can continue to comply with local payroll rules and process payroll in an efficient and cost-effective manner for their business. Professional bodies such as CIPP in the UK and those in the other countries, the APA, CPA, etc. It's important for those processing payroll to be members of their professional bodies to raise the profile of payroll within government and business, and to have access to information, training, and qualifications. Through an effective program of training and professional qualifications, we should be developing the payroll managers of the future. We should also be recognizing that training and education works both ways, and younger members of the team may have more skills and knowledge in technology than more senior members of the team, perhaps, and that we should be utilizing these skills and abilities to develop our payroll processes. In my conclusion here, payroll is an ever-changing profession with an exciting future and opportunities to develop. Whilst technology will change the skills required of payroll professionals, there'll always be a human role to payroll. It was Charles Darwin who said, "It's not the strongest of species that survives, nor the most intelligent. It is the one that's most adaptable to change." And in my opinion, that is definitely payroll. Thank you very much.